Howdy, howdy, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Admin, and welcome to a showcase for the Moar Crossbows Datapack. Today's Datapack adds 26 new crossbows to the game, and in today's video we're going to be looking at 6 of them. And yes, you did hear me right, I said it adds 26 new crossbows to the game. I'll explain why that is in just a little bit, but first let's take a look at what the crossbows actually are. So we have the Egg Crossbow, the Dragon's Breath Crossbow, Burst Crossbow, Laser Crossbow, Quick Load Crossbow, and Zooming Crossbow. Due to how many times I just said crossbow, I'm feeling a bit angry. Some might even say I am cross. Sorry guys, that was bad. All the crossbows in the pack need to be made in the Bow Crafter. That's the same one from Moar Bows, but they need to be made in the Bow Crafter. You can see the recipe right here. And to get the Bow Crafter, if you didn't already know, you need to make a custom crafter. That's a dropper facing upwards, crafting table thrown on top. You get your custom crafter. From here, we can just follow the recipe. So we need our 6 birch planks, and then I think it was bow on top, fletching table in the middle, arrow on the bottom. Now we have our Bow Crafter. And this can just be placed down into the world like a regular block. And as you can see, it will be placed down, and now we have our Bow Crafter. Like I said, all of the crossbows in this data pack need to be crafted in here, as well as all of the bows from Moar Bows. If you have yet to see the Moar Bows data pack, I would check out the 4 videos that I have on it. There is an iCard in the top right to a playlist with all 4 of those videos. All of the recipes for this pack can be found in-game, so I'm not going to cover them in this video, but you can see if we go to Moar Crossbows, we have all of the recipes in the pack. These, as you can see, are not recipes that we were talking about. In fact, the ones that we mentioned in the list here are here. So Egg, Laser, Quick Load, Zooming, Burst, and Dragon's Breath. All of the recipes are right here. So you can just press L, bring this up, and learn all the recipes in-game. And the thing that I've been adding to a lot of my packs nowadays is now when you hover over the recipe, it will tell you the ingredients. So piston times 4, redstone block times 4, and then crossbow in the middle for all of these. But you're not here to just learn about the recipes for these bows. Let's actually look at the functionality. So we have 6 crossbows that are all pretty cool. So the Egg Crossbow is a good place to start, because the egg came first or something like that in the chicken and egg joke. I don't know, that was a stretch. Anyway, this crossbow is perfect for hatching your evil plans. Sorry, I just had to, but anyway, when you shoot an arrow, it will also drop eggs behind it. It will only drop them once every 10 game ticks, so every 2 a second, but you can see it will drop some eggs and occasionally spawn in some chickens. Not particularly useful, but also not unuseful, or I'm not sure if that's a word. And besides dropping eggs, it is pretty much a normal crossbow, so you can shoot and deal some damage just like any other crossbow in the game. Doesn't do any more or less damage than a regular crossbow. So kind of just a bit of a troll item. And before you ask, multi-shot works on every single crossbow in the pack, except for maybe 1 or 2. So now you can see we shot 3 arrows, and now we're littering eggs all over the place. So yeah, this lets you be like a pesky bird. Yeah, pesky bird and litter chickens all over the place. Anyway, we should probably move on. Admittedly, the Egg Crossbow was not particularly useful, so let's breathe some fresh air into... Do you get it? Dragon's Breath? Yeah, the Dragon's Breath Crossbow. Let's look at that. So if we spawn in a mob, you'll see when we hit it with an arrow, a bit of Dragon's Breath gets left on the ground and will deal some extra damage. To make sure that this was balanced, I drastically nerfed the effect of the Dragon's Breath compared to a regular dragon. So you can see it will cause a little explosion, and some of the mobs in the area will get hurt. However, it has a smaller radius, it shrinks faster, and it deals less damage than that of a regular Dragon's Breath. If you're curious, regular Dragon's Breath stays around for 30 seconds and deals instant damage to any mob unfortunate enough to be in its path. And it can do that every second. So I nerfed it in almost every way. We can turn on the bounding boxes if you're curious. And you can see that it will shrink slowly. It is smaller to begin with, deals less damage. And yet this one is still pretty powerful. While the arrows themselves don't do damage, watch this. You can place quite a few Dragon's Breath on the world at a time. You can easily get 4 or maybe even 5 down at once. Now, do realize the quick charge enchantment does exist. So if we enchant our Dragon's Breath crossbow with quick load, you'll see that we can shoot quite a few of these at once. And with that, you can end up placing loads of Dragon's Breath on the field at once. I think the max you can get is around 10 at one single time. I think this could be quite interesting for like a PvP situation where maybe you're not actually using it to deal that much damage to your opponent. You're more using it to like force them to go a certain direction. So maybe you like shoot it around them and now they're forced to come towards you. You can like box them in and maybe you can just add stage hazards essentially to the actual battlefield. Now the arrows themselves generally don't kill like we just saw there. I reduced their damage to be very low. Moving right along, we have the burst crossbow that is definitely my favorite crossbow in the pack. This one's pretty cool. So you can charge it up to shoot an arrow like you regularly would, but you can see we just shot more than one arrow. So whenever you shoot an arrow with the burst crossbow, 4 more arrows are shot right afterwards for a little volley of 5. As you can see, you can spray a fair amount of arrows across the battlefield, and it's pretty cool, honestly. There are a couple downsides to these arrows. They don't deal quite as much damage as a regular arrow would, and it's a little tricky generally to aim the other 4 arrows, but you can see you can definitely, like, I just killed 3 targets in one single shot. So overall, this can be a very effective tool in taking out foes. You can shoot multiple targets with it, and overall just deal a fair amount of damage. There is a little bit of a limitation due to how I programmed this when it comes to enchantment. So the enchantment will only be applied to the first arrow. So suppose you had multi-shot, only the first arrow would become 3. After that, the rest would be a single shot. But I think that's probably for the best. See that shooting a volley of 15 arrows would probably be kind of ridiculous. And that applies to the other crossbow enchantments as well. I think the only relevant one would be piercing. Only the first arrow will have the piercing effect. The other ones would not. But again, that's probably for the best. And finally, this is actually for all of the crossbows. You can load them with a firework. However, I did not really have fireworks in mind when I coded these, and so none of them will actually apply whatever effect they should have to the firework. So you have to shoot arrows to act like a special crossbow. Okay, so there are 26 crossbows in this data pack, and a lot of them are direct ports from Moar Bows. So for example, we have like the lightning bow here. We also will have a lightning crossbow somewhere. There it is. Moar Bows has 20 bows. Moar Crossbows has 26 crossbows. That's because the bottom 6 here that we are talking about in this video, they are new ones. The 20 ported crossbows are not going to be part of the publicly released version of this pack. You're going to need to become a patron of mine at least a $1 or more a month tier in order to get access to all of these crossbows. If that is something that you are interested in and you want to learn more, check out the iCard in the top right. This will link you to a video explaining a bit of the reasoning behind that and how to actually set it up. So yeah, you have your 6 brand new crossbows that you can use free of charge, and if you're wanting even more amazing content, feel free to support me to get access to that. And with that said, let's move on to the final 3 crossbows. So we have the laser crossbow, the quick load crossbow, and the zooming crossbow. Let's just do them all 3 right now. We kind of already saw the effect of the zooming crossbow. It is pretty simple. When you hold it, you zoom in a little bit. Is it useful? Well, probably not, realistically speaking, but it's a little bit nice, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you can't move while you hold it because to do this, it's giving you the slowness effect. So, yeah, this one's probably the least useful crossbow in the pack. You can, like, jump around to move, but, I don't know about this one. It's an interesting idea, but I don't think we're really able to pull it off yet. Maybe someday they will let us change your actual camera zoom with a command. But now we have the quick load crossbow, and this one is quite useful. So when you right click, you loaded your crossbow, and if you right click again, you can shoot. That means you can spam right click, and you can see I'm shooting really quickly. This one, however, cannot be enchanted or repaired. So it's going to burn through your arrows. It cannot be enchanted with like piercing or mending, unbreaking, any of those enchantments. And you can't repair it either, like in an anvil or like a grindstone or anything like that, right? So this one is pretty good, but it has some limitations, and those are very much so intentional, because if you could just spam click to shoot at a mob, I am really good at aiming, by the way, it would be completely broken. Let's grab a husk instead. So you might have noticed something there too. It did not kill the cow all that quickly, and there's a reason behind that. I made the arrows do about half damage of a regular crossbow, because when I tested it, I realized it was insanely overpowered, because crossbows do a lot of damage. So generally takes around 6 shots to kill a husk, which is a 20 health mob with no armor. However, you could probably do some cool things with this if you're good at like PvP, where you like shoot and then, how did I miss that? You shoot and then you swing and then you shoot and then you swing. I don't know. I'm not good enough at PvP to actually do this, but maybe there are some situations where you like do like combos and such with this. Like I said, not nearly good enough at the game to actually showcase that, but maybe you can. So feel free to try it out, see what combos and other crazy shenanigans you can get up to. I'm sure this one would be a lot of fun for like a PvP situation. And finally, we have a very unique crossbow. This is the laser crossbow. So you can see it's a little bit different. It has like a little red thing on it, and when you pull it back, you have charged it, and now the tip is red. And when you shoot, we get an instant ray traced line. So this is an instantly traveling shot. It doesn't actually fly through the air, it just appears at the location you are aiming. It does have a max range to it, so like I can hit those trees over there, but I cannot hit the mountain over there, because that's a bit too far away. This can hit mobs, and you can only hit one mob with it at a time, and it doesn't deal that much damage. So you can see this cow, I believe, can survive, 2 hits. Not a ton of damage, but a fair amount. But again, this one is one of those where you probably could enchant it. However, the enchants won't do anything, like, because I'm replacing the arrow with a laser. Your piercing is not going to do anything. Your multi-shot is not going to work. And yeah, as you can see, when it hits the ground, it sets a fire there. If it hits like a mob, it deals damage. Pretty simple, pretty cool. I'm sure this one could also be quite useful in PvP, because it would be pretty difficult for the opponent to actually avoid, seeing that it doesn't have a travel time and you can just hit them. It's not going to deal very much damage. In fact, like a player with protection armor, and like armor enchanted with protection, they're not going to take much damage at all, if any. Maybe like a heart at most. So not going to deal a ton of damage, but it could totally be useful. And anyway, those are the crossbows added by the Moar Crossbows data pack. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on it. And if you want to make sure not to miss out on future content to this channel, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, this has been Admin, and I thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.